Did you know that there is an actual study about Erasmus Mundus students? There are actually hard data covering aspects like cultural background, academic background, expectations, and the life after studying this international program. I'm very excited to share these insights with you because they are not only mine, but they are based on other 14 students and scholars of Erasmus Mundus program. So, I hope this video will be valuable to you, and if you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe to this channel because there will be a lot of content coming up in upcoming weeks. And also, if you're going to apply for Erasmus Mundus, I have created Patreon community, which is a basically subscription model where you pay small amount of fee every month and you get an access to exclusive content full of motivation letter samples, extra content, free Q&As where you can ask me anything, and where you can get just even more than on my YouTube channel. But now let's get into what is common for Erasmus Mundus students and what is this study actually about. This study was done by my classmate Alice from France, who has asked and interviewed 14 people who were alumni and back then also current students of Tourism and Culture Development program. She covered period between 2019 and 2022. It's regarding the program on the Tourism and Culture Development. However, I am convinced that this can help you to get an idea how diverse this program is, because I see often people very worried about if this background, what they have is actually enough and if they have a competitive portfolio. And I'm always trying to share that no matter what background you have and no matter what country you're coming from, if you're yourself and if you know what you want and if you put an effort into the application, then you can be part of this exciting program or even any other program you're going to apply. So there were actually 3 sub-questions which were covering and which were described in the thesis. The first sub-question is understanding the motivations of Erasmus Mundus students. So actually why people are motivated to go exactly for this program. And I think this is very important because this can help you to see what are the correct motivations and what can you also use for your motivation letter or what you can use during the interview. Because sometimes I see people with kind of wrong motivations, just like I want to escape my country or I want to get money. You should be careful which motivations drives you toward that program. The second sub-question is the studying cultural acclimatizations in the countries of program. In our case, it was the UK, Malta, Sweden, and Portugal. And the third sub-question was identifying potential patterns of Erasmus Mundus students in terms of family, education, and cultural background. The main question for this study was, how do students live their academic and cultural experiences during Erasmus Mundus Tourism and Culture Development program? Of course, I have to mention also the limitations. When you're doing study based on interviews, it cannot be replicated. So you cannot copy paste these results to other programs. And even if this study would be done today, the students would maybe answer a little bit differently. So it's very unique. So what is the background for such Erasmus Mundus students? I say again, there were 14 people interviewed. And the background in terms of education, the academical bachelor program, it was so diverse because tourism and culture development does not require any specific background, meaning no matter what you have studied, you can still apply. And for example, in our case, there were people from tourism background, theater, international relations, languages, archaeology, business informatics. The people who studied the program were between 21 and 31 years old, and there were more female than male. What was also common for them was that they have experienced some sort of mobility before the actual program, meaning that they have some international experience. However, it was the first time for all the students who they lived for such a long period of time abroad, because if you're studying Erasmus Mundus, then at least for 2 years be ready to live abroad in Europe, if not longer, if you decide to work in Europe afterwards. However, what was both easy for non-Europeans and Europeans was the adaptation. Even though it was quite long time away from their families and from their home, they were it was quite easy for them to adapt to this new environments, and they felt less stressed compared to shorter mobility experiences. So, what are the main takeaways? What they have in common in terms of the common background? What was surprising to me, that the students have almost everyone had someone in their family who have a degree from the university. So it means that your parents probably studied university, so you're more prone to go to the university as well and get some sort of international degree. If your parents don't have a degree, don't worry at all, then you will be the first one. The motivation to participate, there were 3 main motivations. Yes, you can guess that the first one was to study and travel to multiple countries and study there, because Erasmus Mundus is all about this, right? The second one was to benefit from prestigious programs which are involved in Erasmus Mundus joint master degree programs. Because Erasmus Mundus joint master degree programs, they collect some very prestigious universities and create this very unique concept. And the third motivation was to meet people from all around the world, because those students have the vision and the goal to work on managerial positions where they are leading people. And in nowadays globalized world, is a must to know how people react from different backgrounds and ethnicities, and how to actually put up a team. So yeah, people are more prone to be in a managerial positions. What are their plans after the mobility? Very diverse, very diverse. Some students went home to their home countries. Some students have decided to stay in Europe, in some countries where they actually did the mobility, but other students stayed in Europe in countries which were not involved in the mobility. The potential opportunities that participating in an Erasmus Mundus program degree often are constrained to legal requirements, visa and residence permit. Especially if you're not a non-European, that this might be quite harder and challenge. So if you want to stay in Europe, you should work on your visa and getting a job already during the program, because unfortunately some students did not get a visa and had to leave back to their home countries, even though they would like to stay longer. So this is one fact which influences whether people stayed or no, especially for non-European students. In Europe, as a European citizen, it's quite easy to stay and there are not so many difficulties regarding the visa process. So also, it's quite diverse what people from my program are doing career-wise. Some of them are freelancers, some of them are working for big companies, some of them stayed in the tourism industry, and some of them not. As with everything, it's quite diverse, and it's only up to you what you will choose. The study end up with a quote or with a term which I absolutely love, and it's the Erasmus generation. We are the generation which is very comfortable with traveling, living abroad, having friends from all around the world, being very multicultural and very oriented in the world. At the end, I want to close up this video with the final finding, and it was that expectations were met, which in my opinion is very important. Sometimes the expectations can be very high, of course, and then it's quite difficult to fulfill them, and sometimes they are not as high, and even just the program itself fulfills and meets the expectations. So it depends on your personal expectations and what you want to get, but the general conclusion of that study was that the expectations were met. Guys, I'm very excited about your thoughts about such a study, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Bye bye.